Hello, lovers of F1. My name is Ben Wevel, and this is the first episode of my new podcast, F1 Weekly. Now, you may have guessed from the title that I will be posting small clips of podcasts every week and sharing them with you. Now, you may think that this is the worst possible time to start a podcast on Formula 1, as the season has just ended. But that, in fact, is where the point lies. We will now be without F1 for a number of months, so my plan is to keep the spirits of F1 fans high, so that when the 2021 season does come around, we'll all be raring to go for Lights Out in Melbourne on the 21st of March. This podcast will mostly consist of F1 news, but I've decided today to explain to you one of my favourite races of the 2020 season. But before we start, this should be released on Christmas Day, so to anyone who hears this, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. In my research for this episode, I went back and watched all of the highlights for all of the races in 2020, and one really stuck out. That was the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Renowned for its insane speeds and inventive winners' podium, Monza began its life just after the First World War, after the Italian motoring boom of the previous decades. The more than a century-old Titan of swiftness would seem like the optimum place for the fastest car ever, the Mercedes W11, to smash the rest of the competition. However, it was Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri, Carlos Sainz in the McLaren, and Lance Stroll in the Racing Point, who made up the top three. This outcome does beg the question, what happened to the Mercs? Well, for the number 77 of Valtteri Bottas, it was quite clear from lights out. The Mercedes man dropped down to 6th place as lap 2 began, after a horrendous start. However, Hamilton got away nicely, extending his lead further and further in the first few laps. By lap 19, both Sebastian Vettel and Kevin Magnussen had retired with failures to their cars, the latter leading to a full safety car, under which Hamilton pitted, leading to him giving up first place to Carlos Sainz. However, he was unaware at the time that the pits were in fact closed at the time of his entering. This fact proved costly to his chances of winning, as you'll soon see. He was still under investigation at lap 27, in which Charles Leclerc, the Ferrari driver, who was placed 4th before the incident, had a violent crash at the famous Curva Parabolica, under which the race was red flag. It's always worrying to see crashes at this magnitude, so it was nice to hear Charles Leclerc's well, but slightly shaken voice almost straight afterwards. However, the drama would continue on that very lap, as Lewis Hamilton was given a 10-second stop-go penalty. This was a changing point in the race, as with Valtteri Bottas at 8th and Lewis Hamilton with a time penalty, it was looking like a very rare, in this age of the sport, non-Mercedes win! Yes, thank you very much, it's incredibly rare in this time. Anyway, back to the racing. However, after a break to repair the tyre barrier at Parabolica, the race was once again underway, and Lewis Hamilton was once again powering away from the rest of the pack. There was nearly another accident in the first lap, with Lance Stroll picking up a lockup, luckily not ruining his own race or collecting another of his fellow racers' cars. I was sighing with relief at the margin by which he missed the cars in front. On the next lap, Hamilton had to come into the pits for his penalty, dropping down to last place and propelling Pierre Gasly to first position for the first time that season, and the two Alfa Romeos to the podium positions, which they inevitably would not hold. On lap 31, Max Verstappen in the Red Bull was forced to retire after an engine failure, breaking a 6-race podium streak. This was an incredible development in the race, as the three who most commonly found each other on the podium were either out or practically out. Hamilton was 16th and Bottas was 6th at the time. By the 35th lap, both Carlos Sainz and Lance Stroll had passed the remaining Alfa Romeos, shaping up a very interesting and very rare three podium positions of Lance Stroll, Carlos Sainz and Pierre Gasly. Despite a valiant lap from Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly would go on to win the Italian Grand Prix, representing one of only 3 non-Mercedes powered wins. This race absolutely took my breath away with its twists, turns, shock crashes and retirements, and finally, its jubilant first-time winner. Thank you for listening to F1 Weekly, and I hope that you enjoyed. If there's anything that you would like me to talk about next time, let me know on Instagram at F1Weekly_, all lowercase. That's F1Weekly_, all lowercase. See you next time for another episode.